Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio. Today we are taking a look at this article here related to Doctor Who, and that is how Doctor Who can reinvent itself in the age of Disney Plus. Doctor Who needs to reinvent itself to compete in the age of Disney Plus and high-end productions, and the key could be a co-production deal with HBO. I'm going to come out and just say this right off the bat. A co-production deal with HBO might be Doctor Who's saving grace, but we'll get a little more into that by the end. Doctor Who can reinvent itself for the age of Disney Plus by embracing the possibility of co-productions. The BBC's flagship science fiction TV series and the longest-running sci-fi show ever, Doctor Who is one of the most remarkable franchises in the world. The key to its longevity is its potential to reinvent itself, perfectly symbolized by the protagonist's ability to regenerate, a small plot device that allows the BBC to recast its star. Now, the thing that this article doesn't go into is that I believe that the idea of regeneration, it goes back to William Hartnell, who was the very first actor to ever take on the Doctor. I believe he got very, very ill at one point, and they didn't know if he could come back and reprise his role. So they had the idea of him to regenerate. That way they can keep recasting the role, and they can keep the series going on and on and on, and they could explain the recasting down the road. Current Dr. Jodie Whitaker is due to depart in 2022, along with showrunner Chris Chibnall. I know a lot of Doctor Who fans are jumping for joy right now, especially over the fact that Chris Chibnall is leaving, because his era of Doctor Who has not necessarily been the best, leading to intense speculation about what will come next. Speaking at the Edinburgh TV Festival, and yes, that is how you pronounce it, it's not Edinburgh, it's Edinburgh. Speaking at the Edinburgh TV Festival, BBC's head of drama, Piers Wanger, has indicated radical changes are in store for Doctor Who. Chibnall himself seems to be indicating that these changes will focus on production as much as anything else, as Doctor Who needs to flourish in an increasingly competitive context. Writing in Doctor Who magazine number 568, he explained the whole of television has been revolutionized during his tenure. Quote, "The challenge we were set by the BBC was to keep up with Netflix," he observed. The challenge for the people who succeed us is to keep up with Disney Plus. The creative rules are being thrillingly rewritten by shows like WandaVision, while production standards and methods are being redefined by The Mandalorian. End quote. However, scroll a little too far. However, that also means that costs are rising too, as Chibnall continued, quote, "There's been up to 35% upward inflation in the cost of making drama while we've been on the show. So we're competing for talent and crew in a genre with shows that have gotten up to $10 million more budget, not per series, but per episode. No doubt the challenges became greater after Loki, whose TVA was conceptually similar to the Time Lords. Classic Doctor Who was often mocked for its low-budget special effects, but it's also classic Doctor Who that came out in the 1960s and 70s. That's like complaining about, Star Trek, the original series today, because the sets look so cheap. But the show is too prestigious to get away with that anymore. The BBC must be able to be competitive at a time when every aspect of the public service broadcaster's expenditure is under significant political pressure. The answer lies in a co-production deal. Such co-productions have become increasingly common for the BBC, with a partner co-financing in return for the distribution rights and some element of creative say. According to the Radio Times, a good example is The Spy Thriller: The Night Manager, which starred Tom Hiddleston. It costed a reporting €3 million per episode at a time when UK broadcaster budgets for primetime dramas rarely exceeded €700 to €8,000 an hour. The BBC co-financed it with AMC, and a similar deal with Doctor Who would surely help finance a big-budget sci-fi series. The last 15 years have seen Doctor Who become an ever more significant global brand, with BBC America working hard to draw audiences in the United States. There was a particularly notable marketing push in 2011, the year in which Matt Smith's 11th Doctor donned a Stetson, visited Washington, D.C. at the time of the moon landings, and even secretly explained President Nixon's Watergate scandal. Deliberate narrative choices by the creative team to draw in American audiences. The strategy has been remarkably successful, perfectly positioning Doctor Who for lucrative and beneficial co-production deals that will allow the show to continue to compete. The most likely contender for a co-production deal is HBO, keen to expand its slate of content on the streaming service HBO Max. Back in August 2019, HBO and the BBC reached an agreement for all seasons of the Doctor Who revival to stream on HBO Max in the United States, and both parties were keen to stress the significance of a deal. Quote, Doctor Who is a program like no other, an incredibly rich world of stories packed with adventure, regeneration, heart, too actually, and hope. Our audience is incredibly dedicated and engaged, and we can't wait to work with HBO Max to tell our stories from across all of time and space. Doctor Who's global franchise director Sally D. St. Croix said at the time, a co-production deal between the BBC and HBO would be a logical extension to this, allowing Doctor Who to become bigger than ever. And yes, there's another show that they're not bringing up, and that is what's that show on Netflix, the Sicilian movie? I could picture Peaky Blinders. You know, Peaky Blinders was yet another one where, because of you could argue that show only became popular because of the deal that the BBC reached with Netflix at the time. So, do I think that a co-production could work? Yeah, it absolutely could. But I think Doctor Who needs to go through yet another reboot. And what I think Doctor Who could, now this is all speculative, this is all my opinion. What I think Doctor Who could do to really stand apart from the rest of television right now is go back to making episodic series and don't focus on serialization. Because every single TV show now wants to be serialized, with a handful of exceptions. So if you can stand apart by saying it's a new adventure every week, that might draw more people in than you have to watch episodes 1 through 15 to get a complete story, because now people are thinking, oh shit, do I really want to dedicate 14 or 15 hours, 1 hour a week for the next 15 weeks to watch this brand new show? Or am I just going to stick with what I'm watching right now? More than likely, you're going to stick with what you're watching right now. And guys, that's pretty much all I've got for you. I've gone on for as long as I need to go. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. And if you guys have been following me for long enough, you know I'm terrible at ending these videos, so I will just see you guys next time.